Welcome to module number 4 of Agile Project Management, version 2.0. In this module, we will examine the DSDM process. Over here, we've got a diagram of the DSDM process. Now, in line with the DSDM philosophy that we kind of looked at in an earlier module, the DSDM approach to development and delivery is both iterative and incremental, with the most important business needs typically being addressed quite early, while less important features are delivered later. Now, unlike most agile approaches, DSDM integrates project management and product development into a single process. Now, for many organizations, DSDM is all that is needed, although some may gain value from integrating DSDM with other methods such as Prince2 or PMI or other software engineering practices, such as extreme engineering. Now, the process model that we see on this particular screen comprises a framework which shows the DSDM phases and how they relate to one another. The process model is then used by each project to derive their life cycle. So when you kind of look into the first phase of the process model over here, that's the pre-project phase. Now, the pre-project phase ensures that only the right projects are started and that they are set up correctly based on clearly defined objectives. Moving on, the next phase is the feasibility phase. Now, the feasibility phase is intended primarily to establish whether the proposed project is likely to be feasible from a technical perspective and whether it appears cost-effective from a business perspective. Now, the effort associated with feasibility should be just enough to decide whether further investigation is justified or whether the project should be stopped now as it is unlikely to be viable. So the next phase is the foundation phase. Now, the foundation phase basically takes the preliminary investigation from feasibility to the next level. It is intended to establish a fundamental but not detailed understanding of the business rationale for the project, the potential solution that will be created by the project, and how development and delivery of the solution will be managed. Now, by intentionally avoiding low levels of detail, the foundation phase should last no longer than a few weeks, even for large and complex projects. The detail associated with requirements and how they should be met as part of the solution is intentionally left until the evolutionary development phase of the project. Now, the aim of the foundation is to understand the scope of work and, in broad terms, how it will be carried out by whom, when, and where. The foundation phase also determines the project life cycle by agreeing how the DSDM process will be applied to the specific needs of the project. Now, for smaller, simpler projects, the feasibility and foundations phase can often be merged into a single phase. For larger, more complex projects, it may sometimes be necessary to revisit foundations after each deployment phase. Now, the next one in the process model is the evolutionary development phase. Now, building on the firm foundations that have been established for the project, the purpose of the evolutionary development phase is to evolve the solution. Now, the evolutionary development phase requires the solution development teams to apply practices such as iterative development, time boxing, and Moscow prioritization, together with modeling and facilitated workshops, to converge over time on an accurate solution that meets the business need and is also built in the right way from a technical viewpoint. Now, working within time boxes, the solution team members create solution increments, iteratively exploring the low level of detail of the requirements and testing continuously as they move forward. The next phase that we have is the deployment phase. So the objective of the deployment phase is to bring a baseline of the evolving solution into operational use. The release that is deployed may be the ultimate solution or a subset of the ultimate solution. After the last release, the project is formally closed. Now, the next phase is a post-project phase. So after the final deployment for a project, the post-project phase checks how well the expected business benefits have been met. Now, the life cycle in practice, let me just give you a few thoughts. While there is a clear progression of phases from pre-project all the way to post-project in the process diagram on this particular slide, there are also arrows indicating a return path within the process, specifically the arrows from deployment to foundation and from deployment to evolutionary development. The process shows the framework and the options available. Each project derives their life cycle from this process. The life cycle for the project is defined and agreed as part of the foundation phase. Now, a few words about configuring DSDM for scalability and formality. Now, DSDM recognizes the real value of agility in terms of project productivity and solution quality while acknowledging and accepting the necessary constraints that often exist when working in a corporate environment. Now, such constraints may include financial governance, architecture, and infrastructure strategies, regulatory governance, etc. Now, the DSDM process can be configured and calibrated to cater for a range of projects, be it small with light governance to large projects with very strong governance needs. Typically, this is achieved by configuring a life cycle appropriate for a specific project and determining an appropriate level of formality with which the DSDM products are defined, created, and approved. Now, with regards to scaling, the project organization can easily be refined to support multiple teams with key roles acting as directors and coordinators across the teams. Now, to support a more complex project structure, products such as the solution architecture definition, which we're going to look at later point, development approach definition, and a whole range of these documents can be made more elaborate and more formal. That would be appropriate for smaller projects. So a quick summary of this particular slide. DSDM provides an iterative and incremental process with a total of 6 lifecycle phases, i.e. pre-project, feasibility, foundation, evolutionary development, deployment, and post-project. Now, each phase has a specific purpose, as we looked at, together with a number of defined products intended to support the evolution of the solution and the smooth running of the project. The DSDM Agile Project Framework is designed to work effectively with projects of varying size and complexity. Through the tailoring of its various products, DSDM ensures control is demonstrated to a level of formality appropriate to the organization, thereby running a project so that all the benefits of Agile are achieved without compromising effective project governance.